Hello again, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we are doing an October junk journal spread, or just a junk spread. I'm not journaling. I never know what to call this. I have junk. I'm going to cut it up, rip it up, and put it in a little spread. So this is the first end of month junk journal spread I'm trying. I usually do like spreads in my daily pages. So I've already done one for Traverse City when we went for a friend's wedding. But I thought it could be cool to use the rest of the junk that I save up that doesn't really amount to like a spread in my daily pages. Maybe it's just like one or two little scraps from something. So I've been collecting this the entire month and we're gonna see what happens. So this is the book that I tend to put those types of spreads in. And in the past, I've done full page spreads for like big events or things that I get a lot of materials for. So this was a couple of years ago. We went to the Lantern Festival. I saw Hades, the musical. This was my birthday, that sort of thing. Like we went to this like club. So I try to do full spreads based on a theme, which maybe I'll get back into this, but I haven't been junk journaling as much as I used to, and I wanted to do it more. So I'm thinking right now, maybe a monthly wrap-up spread could do the ticket to get me back into creating stuff. So this is where I've decided to put the materials. I think I might try to do a full like double page spread. And so here are some of the things that I collected along the way. I have like no plans. We're gonna figure this out together. We're gonna see what happens, how it turns out. It could be absolutely hideous. We don't know yet. We're going to discover that together. So we did a wine tasting. So I have these little like wine tasting notes. Then I print stickers probably once a week. These bigger ones are gonna go in my daily pages of my planner. And then I have these stickers down here of some of the favorite moments of October, as well as I know I have scraps and bits about certain things. So I saved, like I made these photos to match the bits that I know I have. This is a map from Traverse City while we're up there, the receipt of the wines we bought after the wine tasting. I have a fortune cookie from a dinner we went to, some of the mail and ballot stuff that came off the like outside envelope before you mailed it back in. This like little ephemera thing that came off of a package we got for something for the store. And then I did one of these like sticker scenes. So these are all stickers that I put on here, and I figured what better place than to put in my junk journal. This month we got really into Magic the Gathering. So we went to this shop, this like gaming shop, and they were moving, but I thought it could be cute to use this little top thing. And then there are gonna be a ton of like packaging from different Magic materials. So we have a bunch of different decks and like cards that came with them, boxes. I got a Doctor Who deck that kind of sent me into like, I was being coy about Magic until I looked at the Doctor Who set and I was like, okay, maybe I'll check this out. I have this little like envelope thing. I don't know what I'll use this for. Maybe I'll save this for another spread if I have something I like want to put in this little pocket thing. More cards. Then I have, this is the Robinette's wine tasting paper. We went to an apple orchard near here and this was like the tasting we did. I have a receipt to Duncan that I really like the pink color of. We did a scarecrow contest downtown. This is the card that came with that sticker thing I did. This postcard was from the wedding in Traverse City, and then I have a little brochure for Robinette's. I definitely will be using this part. So lots of different pieces. Some have like a theme, but everything's kind of just, you know, the main theme is that it happened in October. So we're gonna see what happens. So what I first like to do is usually cut down the bits into sections that I want to use. So I'm gonna cut off like the top part of this and then maybe some of my notes down here after I had quite a few glasses of wine. The notes get funnier. And then maybe save like this stuff from Alex's notes. And like I know I wanted to keep this part. So I'm gonna go and cut down things into the sizes of pieces that I want. Sometimes I'll use a paper cutter if I just want a straight edge. Other times I'll cut like around the border if that's what I'm interested in doing. But I find that the best way to like get started with like handling all the junk is to remove the actual, like, I don't want this, this is trash, I'm gonna recycle that kind of thing, and then have the pieces you're actually going to use ready in a little pile. All of the pieces have been cut, so let's pull out our adhesive tape and get started. So I just kind of like ripped things down to approximately the size of shape I wanted, and I thought I was going to just like kind of put this map down here and then cut the edges. So maybe let's rip it down the seam and put one here and one over here. I find like once I get the background down, everything else just kind of flows easier, so I just kind of like sacrifice something to the background because usually it ends up quite covered with other things. Put that down, and I think I went pretty close to the correct edges to make sure everything stays. And then I'll go through at the end and trim up all of the outside edges. So if anything goes over, it'll just be cut at the end. So let's put down the biggest things first. I want to keep this postcard whole. And I know like a lot of people will do these types of junk journals and they'll have like a cohesive theme and everything, which is great. And I've definitely done those before and I love them. But I also think that this like memory spread has like a place and time for it too. Like obviously the Disney stuff kind of turned out the same like color scheme because it's all from Disney, but like if you do one event and you kind of make it all about that, then the color scheme is more cohesive, but this is covering an entire month. So I am expecting it to be much more all over the place, and I am just kind of experimenting. I obviously haven't done this, and I'm curious to see what becomes of it, what kind of happens. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna just put the big stuff down, like the big events, like the wine tasting at Robinette's was a thing I did. And then like, I'm gonna put the Robinettes near it, is what I'm thinking, kind of make sections. So like the Scarecrow contest will have its own little section maybe over here, and then they'll kind of start to like overlap each other. And then I can use the photo stickers to kind of highlight each section, is what I'm thinking. And maybe some of the stuff doesn't end up in the spread, and that's totally fine. Like this I just did for fun on the side, but it might not be part of the entire piece. Like it just might not end up there. So that is cool and totally fine as well. I did pull out my like junk journaling supplies box. I have this like tote full of supplies that I have and organized. They aren't like actual junk, it's like ephemera and that sort of thing. I think I did a tour walkthrough of it, so I will link that so you can see it, just in case I do want to add some other elements to kind of tie it together. I'm concerned I don't have a lot of like smaller pieces to kind of make it look crazy and full, which is my favorite way of doing spreads. I like when they look like all over the place. I enjoy that. So I have that here too that we will get into if we need to. So here's the Robinettes. Maybe I'll put the other wine stuff over here too. So I try to vary between like straight cuts and ripped cuts. I like the look of like a combined thing. So I've ripped some of them that you saw. I was ripping some pieces so that they have that nice rough edges. but then I can also rip as I go if it so appeals to me. I find too that if the edges, to not make them line up. So like right here, this white one is a little bit higher. It might get cut off, but it'll still show that it's a little bit higher. Putting this slightly lower makes it look more haphazard and less planned, which ultimately leads to a better looking spread, I think, anyway. And like I said, if we cover the map, that's totally fine. It was kind of the plan. It was the sacrificial lamb. I think maybe down here will be a good spot for all the magic stuff and maybe sprinkle it a little bit. Let's put the election stuff over here. I start with the big pieces and then work my way down to the smallest pieces over here. I might, yeah, I'm gonna put this down here to cover the rest of that white space, but I think a lot of it will end up getting covered up, which is fine. So this is my first time ever playing Magic, so I'm learning a lot about like the card symbols and colors and everything, and just kind of trying to educate myself as we go along. And I thought this little paper that came with my Doctor Who deck was super interesting because it talked about the different colors, but then also like gave them attributes, like white is order, cooperation, and protection. And I liked it. I thought that was an interesting way to look at the colors and how the cards are split and divided. So I want to add this in. I personally don't like going sideways with my art. Like I always do things pretty straightforward. I don't like put anything at diagonal. I don't know why. It's just, maybe I will put this like fortune cookie a little bit at an angle, but I just prefer, I think, if they are straight up and down. Let's put this guy over here. Knowing full well that most of that is going to get cut off. So I have all these little Doctor Who, and this is one of the Commander decks Alex got, but I don't know if I'm going to actually keep these or not. Is he about to like creep over here on? Maybe actually. I don't like that. I do really enjoy having these junk journals pages in this ring notebook. This is something that I kind of like hobbled together. It's an Erin Condren ring that I've had from something. I just had the ring. And then I coiled some pages onto it. These like spare extra pages I take out of planners and whatnot. I have like a decent stack of just paper because I didn't want to waste it, you know, it's good paper. So I DIY'd this notebook, and I find that the coil makes it, it's difficult when you're trying to like get near the coil to do stuff, but the bulk is much easier to handle because like these pages are really thick, but there's only like 4 or 5. I can really layer on the papers, but because it's a coil, there's so much room. And I didn't put a ton of paper on the ring, like maybe 20 or 30 pages, but it's a pretty big ring that as they bulk, it won't be too much. So I've just been using old supplies I have from like different planners and things to try and like hobble notebooks and stuff together. And I've enjoyed it. So things are getting muddied. There's a TARDIS over here now, which is fine. At this point, I think I'm gonna go back and add in the stickers so that I can cover them with like the remaining little bits I have left. I have the fortune cookie, this little thing, a little receipt, this little emblems, and some more cards. So let's do the photos. So this was from Robinette's. Let's put that here. This was a scarecrow competition. So yeah, that was crooked. Look, I'm putting the photos crooked. I'm doing great. Doing so good. That feels like it's trying to like really cover something. So maybe I'll put it more over here. Yeah, so maybe I put the papers down, like the bulk papers down, and then the top layer gets a little skewy. I don't know. I feel like I was like, I do this thing, but do I? Who knows? I do really like the photos like that though. So this was the wine tasting, so maybe this goes up here. These were from the wedding. We're gonna zoom in a little bit as we get into the final details. I don't need to use everything. Like, I'm totally fine not using everything. Like, this pink now seems weird, but it's nice to have the options, you know? So probably won't use this one because I have the TARDIS one up over here and it feels like it might just fill. Maybe I can cut him so he's just a little guy. This is the Magic the Gathering symbol in the Bloomburrow design, but you know, of course, I love the bee. So where can I put him? Yup, perfect. Don't know. Oh, that'll be cute down there to cover up the photo a little bit. Perfect. I like it when like the photos are near the top layer, but I like doing something where they are slightly covered in one section so that it doesn't seem like the topmost layer. It just makes it a little more interesting. So now we're gonna go through and cut. So this is what we're looking at after putting down all of the photos and bits that I've collected. I think I'm going to go into my junk journal box and add some more elements because I'm feeling like these blues are really strongly contrasting the rest of like the yellows. So I think I want to incorporate them a bit better with a little more ephemera that kind of like buries them a few layers. That is a bit more warm toned. I'm gonna go to these sticker books first because it's the easiest rather than having to like cut or paste something. It's just like throwing a sticker on there to try and incorporate things. So let's look through these to see if there's anything that I can add. I could do like an October font situation. So the blue isn't gonna drive me completely crazy if I don't find a way to like better incorporate it. It's fine, but let's just try and see if we can. With something that matches like the themes of the month if possible. So it was Halloween, October, so maybe we can get, I don't know, it feels wildly out of place actually. I should not have peeled that sticker off so aggressively without really thinking about it. This might not be the answer. We might be done with the spread and I might be pushing it farther than it needs to go, but let's. Okay, so thinking no with that one. And then I have these ones that are all different themes. This could be cool. Maybe this tissue. Get some blue over here. If you happen to hear Alex in the background, he just hopped on a phone call for work, so disregard that mumbling in the background. But you know, we're in a working environment here. This cat is so cute. I thought maybe if I could like bury this down a little bit behind it, that could help. And then I added some blue up over here. These are just like little old advertisements. Not entirely sure really. That's the magic of junk journaling. You find these like random books of things and you're like, yeah, that'll totally work. I can make this happen. And I like adding that like washi tape element. These are like washi stickers. I like having this near the top because you can see through them, but it adds even more like layers. And I love the look of like a ton of layers going on. I think at this point I'm feeling quite content with this for my first go at the like end of month little junk journal spread. So let me know what you think. If you have any tips or tricks or suggestions. I think I'm gonna keep saving things to do this at the end of every month, at least for the next couple of months, to see if it's something that I want to keep up with. But I think this is a really cool way to kind of summarize the month and the big things that happen during it. But let me know your guys' thoughts and if this is something that you do, or how do you take all your scraps and bits from the month and incorporate them into your planning or your journaling. I would love to know and chat about that. But thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.